I'm a naked dating and relationship coach, and I'm here today at the Buffalo Exchange. I'm doing a workshop called Getting the Love You Want for Valentine's Day. Let's go check it out.
And she tells you, like, she's
Introduce myself. My name is Lisa Shield, and I'm a dating and relationship coach. And I've been doing coaching for the past 10 years. I was one of the first coaches in Los Angeles who started doing this. And I became a coach when I decided. I woke up at 40, and I realized that my life was passing by really quickly. And I had been married before, but I didn't work out. And then I had a sort of 8-year break, and I really wanted to find the love of my life. I really thought, I woke up and I thought, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep having one bad relationship after another, meeting one guy, putting in all this time, doesn't work out, doesn't commit, and not having it work. So I thought there's got to be a better way to do this. And this was right when internet dating was really starting, and I put myself online and I got very committed. I said, I'm going to really do this like I would do a job search, like I would commit to anything. I'm not going to stay in temporary relationships. I'm not going to stick in it if I know that people aren't really interested, if they don't have the same goals and values as me. And I did this. I dated for almost 2 years. I dated solid for 2 years, and I went on almost 100 first dates. First dates. Every single one, except for 2 dates, was a first date. And at the time, I was getting my master's in spiritual psychology. I was going to a program here in Santa Monica, and I was getting a spiritual psychology master's degree. And so I was taking a lot of the things I was learning in this class, and I used those tools, those skills out in the dating world. So I was taking what I was learning in the program and I was applying it while I dated. And I met an amazing man. Not just, it wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't just blind luck. I really found, I think in some ways what people would really call true love. We've been together 10 years now, and he's an angel. He's just the sweetest person I've ever known in my life, and our relationship just gets better and better. And it's wonderful. I share this only because I think that we see so many bad relationships and we go through so much heartache when we're dating and when we're out there. We go through so much to try, and a lot of times you lose hope. I don't know, but when I coach clients, I work with a lot of people who've given up, who really have gotten to the point where they don't even really believe it's possible anymore. So, I have to give them hope and keep them out there. And I'm happy to say that I have hundreds of clients, hundreds who have met people. And, I get cards and emails all the time. We're having a baby. I just got engaged. So this is really possible, and I just put that out there because, I'm not that LA supermodel girl, and I'm definitely not a man magnet. And I'm definitely not I don't love male attention. In fact, I'm really shy. But I did learn how to do this. It was really pretty amazing thing. So I'm just sharing that. That's a little bit about who I am and what I do. And when I found my husband, he's in the healing arts, and I don't know if you guys know what Rolfing is. I don't know if you guys know what Rolfers are. I know people are like, huh? But he's a body worker. He works like a chiropractor. He works on helping with injury, and he's probably one of the most gifted people in his field, which is kind of a dubious title because if nobody knows what you do and you're one of the most gifted people, it's kind of like, okay. But he's really an amazing man. And one day, about 3 months after we had met, he looked at me and he said, I was importing. I had an importing business. And he said, you're not an importer. You should be a life coach or you should be a therapist, but you're not an importer. And I said to him, why do you say that? And he said, because this is your passion. He said, this is really what you love. This is what you believe in. So I listened to him and I sold my business, and then right after that I became a life coach. I studied and I've been doing this for 10 years. So The topic today is getting the love you want. And I kind of picked that topic because I wasn't sure if we were going to have a group of single people or dating or whatever, and so I wanted to make it a topic that we could sort of appeal to everybody and that you could all take something away from this. So I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to just start by telling you guys a story about a client of mine, and we're going to call her Bella. And Bella came in, and she was probably in her early 30s. She really, really wanted children. She, like a lot of people, and if any of you guys fall into this category, I think you'll really relate to this story. I can't tell. I have so many clients, beautiful, attractive, successful, kind people who have never been in romantic relationships, well into their 30s. This is happening all over the place. There are lots and lots of people who have never been even in a relationship at all. And when I first started doing this, it was really surprising to me to see that people could go that long and never really have a relationship. And Bella was one of those people. She had never had a relationship before. And she was scared because more than anything, her dream, like it is for a lot of women, was to have children. And she was so far away from that because not only was she not close to having a child, but she had never even been close to a man before in an intimate relationship. So we worked and we worked and we worked, and we got her, up and dating, and then we got her out there, and then we got her going on dates, and then she even got to a second date and a third date. Things started really improving. So we finally, after some, probably about 6 months of coaching, she meets this guy in Orange County. And she's so excited. And he's willing to travel from Orange County all the way up to LA to see her, which is a pretty big deal if you think about it, right? And so he comes from Orange County up here, and they go on 3 days. And then it's Valentine's Day. He doesn't ask her out for Valentine's Day. Now, she comes into the coaching session, and she's livid. She is so mad, and she sits down and she says, the kind of guy that I want to be with wouldn't leave me alone on Valentine's Day. Like, I want to be with the guy that's going to know that a girl is going to want to date on Valentine's Day. And she wouldn't listen to anything I said. She said, I'm cutting it off. This sucks. This guy's a loser. I'm done. Now, I knew how hard we'd been working just to get her to this point, and she's ready to bolt. And this happens all the time. This happens all the time. We're so afraid. People get so scared of falling in love or wanting something, and we get so afraid that we're not going to get what we want, that at the first sign that somebody isn't going to show up in the way we want them to, we're out of there, right? So I looked at her and I said, this is your MO. This is what you do. You run. You run from relationships. And I said, I'm going to challenge you. You're paying me. You've spent a lot of money and time to come here. I'm going to challenge you. She was ready to go home and call him and cut the whole thing off. And I said, don't do it. I'm going to challenge you. I want you to go home. And instead of thinking about yourself, I said, I want you to think about him. Maybe he doesn't, Valentine's Day is really charged. This is a really big thing, you can't just ask some girl out for Valentine's Day. I mean, what's going to happen? She's going to start planning the wedding, I mean, that's what women do. We're going to get out there and we're going to start planning the wedding if you ask us out for Valentine's Day. So I said, what I want you to do is, I'm going to challenge you. I want you to go home. I want you to go out and buy a Valentine's card, and I want you to send him a card for Valentine's Day. So instead of making it about you getting what you want, I want you to get out there and I want you to do something for him.
It doesn't make it you look desperate?
Nope.
No?
Nope. Okay. Forget that one. Forget I'm going to tell you that probably 85–90% of what you read or what you hear about relationship stuff is bullshit. I mean, it's just bullshit. It's games. It's manipulation. If some guy likes you, he's going to be thrilled to get a card from you. Real men, the nicest guys, are scared to death of women. They're way more. I'd say probably. Scared to death of women. Scared to death. They are. If you talk to men, right?
I would say so.
You would say so. Tell me. Tell us. Let's get the male way in here.
I mean, I think, I grew up in a house of women, and I just listen, I listen and watch, and I don't know, I feel like I kind of understand the power of women and behaviors and whatnot, but I mean, for me, like, I think I just kind of grew up as a sensitive, like, really sensitive guy. So, like, I always think about, like, if I do this, then what is she going to think, or like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that also prevents me from putting myself out there, you know.
Totally.
Now it's hard for me to like speak on behalf of other guys, but you know, I think there is that kind of societal kind of machismo, like I'm not personally, like, I don't like have to talk to every single girl that's at a bar, like, whereas some guys it's like a numbers game almost. For me it's like I don't really think of it that way. Like I'm waiting for somebody who really like piques my interest.
Right.
So like I don't know. That's my take on it.
But see, these are the good guys. The good guys are the ones.
Do we get that on camera?
Yes.
Thank you.
But this is the thing, you guys. This is one of the problems. I'm going to digress for a second. Do you know why women like all the bad boys? Do you know why we're attracted to them?
Because they're cool.
Well, partly, yeah. But what happens is, this is the thing. Women test men. We test them. We want to see if they're macho enough, if they're cool enough, if they're man enough for us, right? And so what happens, and if you take nothing else away from today, take this away. What we do is we'll push them away just to see if they're strong enough to come back. Because if we can walk all over them, we're not interested in those guys. We want the guys that are going to stand up to us, that we're going to perceive as being strong, okay? But the real guys, the best guys, the Brians, are going to go away. If you push Brian away, he's going to probably go away. I'm telling you, they're going to go away because they really think we're not interested. And because they put themselves out there. For a really nice guy to walk up to a woman and ask her out on a date, we take it for granted. We sit there and we think, okay, the guys are supposed to ask us out, they're supposed to pick the place.
It takes a lot of guts.
It takes a lot of guts.
And I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I'm never the one to be like, oh, a guy has to come up to me. I've asked guys out too.
Good
and not
for
only
you.
for their number or like to go on dates. I'm not going to be waiting around, So.
No, good for you. And that's the way it should be. And the nicest men I've talked to, all of the good guys say, if you ask them, like, would you want a girl to ask you out on a date? Would you want a woman to ask you out? Hands down, every single nice man I've ever met will say yes. So what happens is, when we push the players away, they come back. Those are the guys that come back. And women interpret that as, oh, he's really into me because I pushed him away and he came back. And he's tough and he's cool and he's a man because I can't walk all over this guy. No, he's not cool and tough. He's not the dude. He's the guy that doesn't care and he's making a game of it. He's playing you. So he's falling for the game. That's what happens. So they come back and they keep coming back, but all they want, most of these guys, is sex. They're coming back and they're playing the game and they don't care, they don't get their feelings hurt. Even the cutest guy. I don't know if you guys remember Sex and the City. You guys remember? Do you remember there was a storyline in Sex and the City where Big met his Carrie? Big met a woman, that was like his Carrie. This woman didn't care about him. She wasn't into him, and he was calling Carrie to get advice on how to deal with this woman. But he was insecure, so for every Carrie there's a Big, and for every Big there's a Big. Okay, so everybody, if you're really vested, if you're really attracted to somebody and someone pushes you away, your feelings are gonna get hurt because you care. But if you don't care, you're gonna keep coming back. So let's go back to Bella, okay? Let's go back to her. So I said to Bella, what I want you to do is I want you to go home and I want you to get to buy a card and I want you to send it to him. And I just, all you have to say is, it's wonderful meeting you. I'm so glad you came into my life, whatever, but just something, and happy Valentine's Day. It doesn't have to be any big deal, right? So she didn't want to, but she did it because she was there to learn and grow and whatever. And so she went home and she got the Valentine's card and she sent it to him so it would arrive on Valentine's Day that night when he got home. That day at work, she showed up at work, chip on her shoulder, feeling sorry for herself, cursing me because I didn't let her break up with them. What happens?
He called her.
24 long stem red roses arrive at her office. 24. He hadn't even gotten the card yet. 24 of the most beautiful long stem roses she'd ever seen. He is the sweetest guy, and he is head over heels in love with her. And they lived happily ever after. Now, if she had not taken my advice, that would not have played out well. And the funniest part of the story is that when I talked to her a few months ago, this was, I guess, last year, she told me that she had a friend that was doing the exact same thing. Some guy hadn't asked her out for Valentine's Day and she was going to cut it off. And she was begging her friend not to do it. So, what I really want to talk about with that story with Bella, and it is, it's a true story. And the reason of course I told that story is it's a Valentine's Day story, and that's kind of what we're here for. But the idea is that the way to get the love we want is to give the love we want. This is how you get the love that you want. Most people, and I coach couples and I coach singles, most of us are trying to get something from someone. And I know the fear is, if I give this person love, if I show up, if I show that I care, am I going to lose myself in this relationship? Am I going to look needy? Am I going to look desperate? Is someone going to take advantage of me? Is someone going to walk all over me? Right? So what most of us do is we get into relationships and we say to ourselves, I'm not going to, I'll do it, but you have to do it first. I'm not gonna, I'll be nice to you, but you got to show me that you care first. So we're sitting there trying to get someone to prove to us that they love us or that they're worthy of our love, right? And then we'll give it to them. But by nature, think about it. By nature of that dynamic, that's the definition of conditional love. I'll love you if you love me. I'll give you love, but first you have to prove to me that you're worthy of my love. That's conditional love. What is the kind of love we're all looking for? Unconditional love. Unconditional love says, I'm going to love you because that's who I am, and that's what I do. And I'm going to be a kind and loving person. Now, in order to love unconditionally, the trick is you have to have clear boundaries. And you have to understand what love looks like. Does that make sense? So when I was dating and I was getting my master's in spiritual psychology, what happened was I woke up I had sort of this spiritual awakening, if you want to call it that. It could be a little profound. But I did. I had this kind of spiritual breakthrough. And I woke up and I went, oh my God, all my life I've been trying to get people to love me. That's all I've been looking for is like me, right? And I thought, if I want someone to love me, I'm going to have to be willing to love him unconditionally, right? And the cool thing was, if I was able to give someone unconditional love, then I could sit back and say, hey, I'm not judging you. I'm not telling you how to be. I'm not asking you to change. I'm not going to take that from you either. Do you see that? But I gave it first. So when I went out on these 100 dates, I really did sit across from every one of these guys and I asked myself, can this guy give me what I want? The first question I asked for myself is, can I give this person the unconditional love he deserves? Because anybody who's going to be in a relationship with me deserves that, right? but we're all blocking it. We're scared, right? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I know it's a scary thing. So what did anybody here kind of relate to the story of Bella? Like, can you guys look at your own lives and kind of see in your life where
Minus the kids part. And
Minus the
wanting
kids
to
part.
Get married. But I know what that's like. With like, if like that's kind of a deal breaker to me. Like, if a guy isn't gonna do, like, if he bails or doesn't, you know, go through with the plan, or like, I usually will like be like, oh, done. You know, I just won't give him another chance, and I'll just like.
Right.
But then again, sometimes I should maybe give him another chance. I don't know.
Absolutely.
But then I go, things happen for a reason, so maybe there was a reason he's out
So
of
I'm gonna tell you guys another really quick story, and then I'm gonna ask one of you guys if I can do some coaching with you. I'm gonna pick a guinea pig and see if somebody wants to do some coaching. So I'm gonna answer that with a vignette, a story from another client just a few days ago. So this client came in. She's adorable. I love her. I would date her if I was a guy. She is precious. Really, she's got like a smile. I was a photographer. I took pictures of her for her online profile. I wrote her profile. She is a 10. I mean, she's not the prettiest girl in the world. You know, not this beautiful, perfect supermodel LA girl, but just, you know, as a package, she's just adorable. Got a great job, got a personality, got friends, everything. So I put her up there, and she's not going out on dates. And she bought the 10 package. Like, she didn't buy the little you know, like, I'll do coaching session by coaching session. She invested in my big 10 series, 10 session package. She put the money down, but she's not going on the dates. So one day I looked at her, she was leaving, and I said, I just need to tell you one thing. As your dating coach, you suck. I said, you suck. Like, you're this close. You've got everything. You've got me on your side. You've got everything, and you won't get out there and do it. So she went away on a girls' weekend, and all of her girlfriends told her she sucked too. So she finally came back, and she finally said she's going to do it, and she came back for the following week. I went on 3 dates. She went on 3 dates in 1 week. She said the first guy, there was no chemistry. The second guy, I think she liked him and he never called her back. The third guy, they talked right before they were supposed to meet, and he said he was running late for the date. He had some work stuff. And she said, no worries, I'll be there. You know, I'm coming. I'll just wait for you. Take your time. She's sitting, they go to a food and wine tasting. She's sitting there, and she gets a text from the guy, and he's outside, and he says, there's too many people. I can't do this tonight. Ooh. Now she texts him back really fast, and she's like, that's okay, we can go, we'll do something else. Nothing. He's gone. So the next morning she wakes up and he sends her an email and he says, I don't know what came over me. I don't know if I'm stressed from work. I'm so sorry. You seem like a great, you know, I don't know what to do, but I'm really sorry. And she writes him back an email and she says, you know, things happen. I wish you a good life. I hope you find what you're looking for. And she looks over at me and she says, that was good, right? And I said, no. That wasn't good. That's why I'm telling you this. I'm like, no. I'm like, that's your MO. You run. Yeah. You're a runner. You're going to find the first excuse. We sit down, we go on Match.com, we look at we look at the email. This is the nicest guy on the planet. I don't know what was up with him. I don't know what happened. But he wrote her an email that was so sweet and so apologetic. And I said, you gotta give him another chance. And even after she wrote him and said, goodbye, good life, he wrote her back and he said, I can see you're really a great girl and I miss my chance. And he said, I totally understand. And she said, what do I do? Like, what do I say? I already blew him off. And I said, you write him back and you say, I am a great girl and you did almost lose your chance, but everybody deserves a second chance. And she did. She wrote him back and they went out. And she called me on Wednesday and she said, he is the sweetest guy she has ever met. She is crazy about him. She said she doesn't know where it's going to go, but she thanked me and thanked me and thanked me. And she said, Lisa, I would have run. She said, I would never have given him a second chance. And I said, you know, for me, this is the most beautiful opportunity, because what you're looking for is not pretense and facades and for everything to start off on a perfect foot. You're looking for real life. You're looking for real people and real interactions, right? You're looking for something real. And lucky for her, I mean, she's got the leg up on this one because he already started out on a bad foot. So she's the one that's going to have the, you know, I mean, in a way, it's good for her. Like, you know, she's got the upper hand right now. But the real truth is that it's human. This is what happens with real people, and people deserve, you know, a little forgiveness. So she gave the thing that she was wanting to get, and in return, you know, the goal, the hope is that they're going to be able to really start something really nice here. We don't know where it'll go, but the beauty is that she really did. She took my advice, and there's a real opportunity that we could be having another baby. I could be coming back here next Valentine's Day and telling you that there's another baby on the way. So what I want to do is I kind of want to ask you guys, is there anyone here, are any of you guys like having, like, want to be a coaching, like be a coaching guinea pig? And what I'm looking for is, you know, some upset with a boyfriend, with a friend, with, you know, with the dating experience, some upset, something that you're upset about, where you feel like you're really closed and blocking love or not willing to hear what somebody else is saying. Does anybody have a situation? I mean, I can't imagine that nobody here has something like this going on in their life. Maybe it's with a girlfriend, maybe it's with a boyfriend. No conflicts.
I feel like there's always conflict, but nobody wants to say anything. I mean, yeah, like trusting, like, I think trust is actually probably for me the biggest.
Okay. What's your name?
Alexis.
Alexis, nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Yeah. So let's do it. Like, what? Tell me. Do you have a specific example with a friend or with a boyfriend or with somebody?
Just coming out of a really bad, not trustworthy relationship.
Okay, let's talk
so
about
I just
that.
I don't want to talk about that. It was a really bad relationship. But like just moving on forward and just dating and being able to, like, okay, do I want to go into another situation and open myself up? Do I trust other, like, because that's the thing, is like getting past that first, like, okay, do I continue doing this or do I keep dating? Do I want to go further with someone? Do I trust them? I don't feel
Like,
that.
how do you trust again after you went through that?
Exactly.
Right, because that's really damaging. Like, you walk into, like, what happens is we start out pretty innocent, especially when we're young. We walk into relationships, you know, with our, you know, just all excited, and then we start to see the truth that other people can really hurt us, right? And that we can hurt other people too. I mean, that's the other part of it, is that we can betray their trust and that we can hurt them. So it goes both ways.
Exactly.
Right? So, so this person really did hurt you.
Yeah, it was just a bad relationship. I shouldn't have
No,
been.
that's okay. I'm not going to get too far
Yeah,
into
but
it.
it was just like I learned a lot from it, but now moving forward, I'm kind of like, all right, do I need to be in another? Because a lot of people tell me, like, I'm young, I shouldn't, you know, have to worry about a relationship, which is true, but I'm also very open to the possibility of being in a committed. So I could go both ways. So I'm kind of like, do I want to keep just serial dating? Is that the word?
Uh-huh.
Or do I want to, like, actually give that person a second chance instead of just off
Because
with
right
the wind?
now you're running away. Like, now, immediately, if you see something, you're out of there.
Yeah, like if I like find something I don't like, or find something that scares me, or like reminds me of a past situation, or something, a characteristic, or something fishy, or something, I immediately am like, oh, on
Out
to
of
the
there.
next one.
And what do you think is going to happen if you keep doing that?
I'm just gonna keep getting hurt,
You're going to keep finding reasons to run away.
and then I'm gonna wake up one day and I'm like, I'm lonely.
Yeah. So how do you think, so let's look at trust. I mean, I don't know that this is, I'm trying to relate it back to giving the thing that you want to get, but, you know, back to getting the love you want. When, you know, it's interesting because when I had to look at trust, it's really hard because trust is an interesting thing. Relationships are built on trust. That's, if you don't have trust, you have nothing. And comes from absolute honesty and openness, right? Like being in a relationship, it comes from transparency. It comes from being really honest and real and open. So when I work with clients, one of the things I do with my clients is I'm really a stickler about real honesty, and not honesty where you hurt people or you just say the, you know, I'm telling you the honest truth, but the loving truth, right?
Yeah, like from your heart and like
Yeah.
because you care about it.
Yeah, because you care, but because you want to be honest, and because you can't get to honesty without being honest. And you can't, you know, again, like I have a client who is going away. She's in a relationship right now, and she's going away with she's in a relationship with a man, and she's going away to she's actually coming to California for a workshop, and she's dating this guy, and she's coming to California for this convention, and she's staying with a man here, you know, and she didn't tell the guy she's dating. And I said, you know, she said, and she gave me a long list of reasons why, but I said, you know, if you really want honesty and you have to give the thing you want to get, right? If you want trust, and if you want trust and you want someone who trusts you, you have to be a person who trusts. So what's going to happen is, if you're not trusting, you're going to you may attract people to you who are not trustworthy.
So you put out what you get back.
Yeah. Yep. There's a great saying from Wayne Dyer: we don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. That's a really scary thought. We don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. So that's the thing in relationships, that it's who you're being. It's, you know, so for me, when I sat back, I had to look at myself, and I said to myself, the truth is, you can't know if you can trust somebody until you trust them. Trust is a leap of faith. You will never know if a person is trustworthy until you trust them. They can't prove it to you, they can't show you. You either trust them or you don't. So you have to, when you go into relationship, you go in and you trust somebody, and then you see, you know, but the only way to find out if a person is trustworthy is just to trust them, and then see what happens. So what I realized was that I can't be responsible for another person's behavior. The only thing I can do is learn to trust myself. So what does it mean to trust yourself?
Just to, like, I don't know, you have to be confident, you have to just know, like, who you are, and to just go with your gut and what you feel is right, and then trust that will project to the other person, and hopefully it's giving out what you, I don't know.
So for me, no, that was really good. And I think that's a big part of it. And I think even taking that one step further is that what trust really, what it meant to me was that I could trust myself to get out of a relationship that wasn't right for me. So when I saw that somebody was being abusive, or that when I really saw the signs, because the problem was, in the past, I had stayed in relationships when I knew people were not being honest. It's one thing to have somebody to have somebody cheat on you or lie to you or deceive you, but to stay, that I have to blame myself for. I can't stop someone else from hurting me. I can't stop somebody else from cheating on me or lying to me or deceiving me. But I can get myself out of it if I know it's not right. And that's the hardest thing, not to stay in it and try to change the other person, not to stay in it and think that I'm gonna, like, I have the power to make somebody be a good person if he's not. I had to prove to myself that I would leave if I saw signs that it wasn't good. So, like, I was dating a guy, and we were having this lovely relationship, and then one night he got absolutely drunk. I had never seen, he didn't drink a lot, but when he got drunk, he did a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And I saw that he was alcoholic. I knew it in the moment, and I walked away that day. I didn't look back. I didn't, now I had been in relationships before with people where I thought I could fix them, I thought I could change them, but I knew in that moment, I proved to myself I'm not kidding. I walked away and he begged me to stay. He said, I'll go to AA, I'll work on it. And I said, you know what? I don't need to go down that road. I've been working on myself. That's not my journey. I've worked hard to get here. I don't want to go to AA. I don't want to go through that with you. I don't need to do that anymore. And I got myself out of it. Does that make sense? So trust is about knowing that it's about learning to build self-trust and knowing that you can get yourself out of things. And then what happens is, as you date and you start to get to really, as you gain experience, you start to see that being a person who has the trust and the confidence in yourself, you start to draw those people to you that are like you. You become a magnet for people who are trustworthy. You start to separate out the people who aren't, because you say no to the people who aren't trustworthy. Every time you say no to something, you're saying yes to something on the other side. Does that make sense? So every time you say, no, I'm not going to be with the alcoholic, you're saying yes to being with the person who isn't an addict. If you say no to the cheater and you walk away, you're saying yes to the guy that's honest and has fidelity.
And it comes back like kind of
Yep. And it's like sending messages to the universe. I mean, I always tell clients to imagine, it's my own brain word here, but I tell them to imagine that there's like a committee up there. You know, you got your own committee and they're taking their cues from you, right? They're taking their cues from you. And you're telling them through your actions, not through your words, not please send me the great guy, you know, but by saying no to the bad ones and yes to the good ones, you know, the nice guys. Brian, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Bryans of this
Brian's of the world.
or the Mikes of this world. But by saying yes to the good people and no to the ones who aren't good, you're sending a message and the universe starts to get the message and it's like, oh, okay, we'll send her more of those guys. Don't say, you know, she's saying no to those guys, okay, let's send her the good guys. And that's how you do it. But by avoiding relationship and telling yourself I have trust issues, all you do is re-ingrain the
Stopping
problem.
yourself. Now I think a lot of it too, I think a big thing of why I stop is flakiness. I think guys who flake are a big, or anytime you flake, I feel like that's a big sign. Like, I think he's not that into you is the book. Have you read that book? That reading that, like I take the little things I've heard off of that and I'm like, oh, he did that, done. Like, nope, that's a sign, right? And should I follow that or should I just
I think you
go with
have
your
to
gut?
be careful. You have to go with your gut, and you really do. Like this woman could have done that. He's not that. It's just not that into you. A lot, like the client I told you about. So many women would have said, "But he wasn't thinking about me. He wasn't taking care of my feelings. He left me at that party all alone." Like, what kind of guy would do that? You know, a human being would do that. He didn't mean to be, you know, whatever was going on with him, maybe there was really something going on, you know, but a lot of women would feel entitled and feel like, you know, the kind of guy I want to be with wouldn't leave me at a party and not come in. Or he could have just at least come in the door and said hello and then, you know, said, let's do this another time. You can make up a lot of stories, but in the end, if you keep finding reasons to run away, you're going to find reasons to run away. I made an agreement with myself, and this was a real switch for me. I realized that I always had one foot out the door in relationship. I was always braced for something to go wrong, even in my marriage. 13 years with my ex-husband. I was smart because something always did go wrong, but anyway, that's another story. But, you know, I always had had one foot out the door. I always had my exit strategy. In the back of my mind, I was always looking for reasons to leave. And when I finally woke up and I said, you know what? I gotta look for reasons to stay. I have to quit running. I've gotta quit like running at the drop of a hat. Like every time I don't like something or something doesn't look the way I want it to, like saying, okay, I'm out of here. And I had this amazing insight that, you know, relationships, it's like, I think of them like a zipper, you know, like you've got, like, you know, when you zip up a zipper, you've got these things that come together. There's like two prongs that come together. And I think of, like, I call it the zipper effect. And when you're in a relationship or when you're first getting to know somebody, there are all these little choice points. all these little moments where you can come apart or come together, come apart or come together, right? And there are these little challenges. They may be very small, but they're these little challenges, and you can choose yourself, and you can say, well, I'm not going to take that risk, you know, and you pull away, or you can lean in. You can have another prong on that, you know, another little piece of that zipper, come together, and each time you're challenged, you know, well, do we talk about this? Do we work this out? Do we, you know, or do I just get pissed and walk away? And each time you come together, you start to zip these two people, these two people come together, and each time you do this, you build this integrity in your relationship, so that when I met my husband, I told myself, when I met him, I said, I'm not going to run. I'm going to be in this 100%. Until I get a sign that this isn't right or that there's something wrong, I'm not running at every little, you know, turn and every little conflict and every little challenge. I'm going to stay, and I'm going to look at myself. I'm going to look at my own reactivity and my own fear and my own stuff, and I'm going to look at how we can come together. Does that make sense? Yeah. You know? But that's how we built safety and trust in the relationship, was by all of these moments where we could have come apart or together. We chose to stay and be, you know, and not run away. And the truth is, you know, if you look around, you're going to see so many people who are in deep fear around relationship. There are so many commitment phobic people out there. I see this everywhere. You know, people that say they want relationships, and then the minute it gets intense, the minute it starts to get to commitment, the minute, you know, I mean, I watch people get all the way to the point where, you know, they're going to get engaged or they're going to move in together, and right up to that moment, and then somebody bails. I'm sure you guys see this with your friends, or maybe you had it happen to you. You know, I had a couple, they were moving in together, and they had gotten so far, and he was pushing, you're my girl, I gotta have you, all of this, and they got right to the point of moving in together, and he said, I can't do it. End of the relationship after a year. And he pulled her. He was the one leading the whole thing on, bringing her into it, and then he ran right before they got to, right before. You know, it's amazing to see how people do this. But getting back to our theme of the day, right? The theme is getting the love you want. And what I really want you guys, you know, the theme of this is today, you know, Valentine's Day is in a few days. It's right around the corner. And I want you guys to think about Bella. You know, I want you to think about how she almost ran away. And instead, you know, she was willing to stop and give the thing that she wanted to get. She gave him the love. She sent the cards, right? And look at what she got. She got a whole life. She got a future. She got the sweetest guy in the world. She got a baby, right? She got a husband. So, and she has a future, you know, she got her dream, and it took that one moment of self-sacrifice, that one moment for her to stop and say, what do I need to give that I'm trying to get here? So, I'm going to give you guys, I had these little packets that I was going to give you guys that I made. They're nothing too exciting, but they were these little packets that I made here. Stuff you guys. So in all of your bags is a Valentine's card. Oh, okay. And just to kind of bring the theme of this whole thing together and keep it on subject. There's a card inside of your bags, an empty card, and it's one of these silly little kind of kid cards. But what I wanted you to all do is, you know, Valentine's Day can be kind of a charged day. I know when I was single, I used to feel sad. You know, I more than anything in the world, I wanted to be in love. I wanted a relationship. I wanted a partner. And I really used to feel very sad and kind of disheartened. I just would kind of pretend that Valentine's Day didn't exist because I didn't want to have to think about how I felt about the fact that I didn't have a man in my life. Luckily today I have an angel. I'm going to share one thing with you. On his profile and at our wedding, one of his vows, it was the sweetest thing in the world. He's a very beautiful writer, And one of the things that he said was, they ask you on the profile on this particular site, what is your idea of the ideal relationship? And he wrote, my idea of the ideal relationship is that we will be guardians of each other's souls.
Whoa, that's deep.
Right? I'm telling you, I got a good one. I got a good one. And that was one of the 3 vows that he gave me at our wedding was, I will be a guardian of your soul. And he has been. I was having a really rough week, and he sent, and there was a knock at the door. The dogs were going crazy, and there was the biggest bouquet of flowers, I think one of the most beautiful bouquets of flowers I've ever seen. And I was like, Valentine's Day isn't until the 14th. And he looked at me and he said, I know, but you were having such a bad week. And he said, I just wanted it to be Valentine's week. So he said, I wanted you to have them so you could enjoy them all week. So, you know, I just want you guys to know that this is, I mean, if I could do this, I feel like anybody could. I used to weigh 200 pounds and I used to be clinically depressed. I was really a mess when I was in my first marriage. So I just want to put it out there that this is available. But the way you do it is you got to give the love you want to get. So what I did was, like Bella, and what I'm going to suggest that you guys all do, because if you don't do the work, you don't get the results. I'm going to tell you that right now. It may all sound good and you guys can walk out of here and go, oh, that was good, or I walked away with a couple good tips from that. But I got to tell you, if you don't take an action to actually forward this and move it forward, nothing's going to happen. You will have spent a half an hour here, got some good stories, listen to me jabber for, you know, but it's not going to do any good. It's the action that's going to make the difference. So what I did was, I'm going to share this with you because I want to show you that I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to ask you guys to do something that I'm not willing to do, okay? So I had an instance about a year ago where I inadvertently got an email from somebody, and it was about me, but it wasn't meant to come to me. And it was an email from somebody that I knew very, very well, and I was devastated. He was sending an email complaining about me to somebody, to a third party. And I shouldn't have gotten the email. I don't know how it came to me, but it did. And it was devastating because this was a person who I thought, who had been very dear to me, who I really loved. And I was heartbroken. And I know that I've been carrying a lot of resentment toward him. I really have. And so what I did was I wrote him a card. I wrote him a card because I need to give the love that I want to get, right? I need to give him the love. And it was really hurtful. I mean, this man worked for my husband. I got him the job. He was in my house every day for years. I mean, this was no small thing, and it felt like a betrayal that he would come and take a job, you know, that I arranged for him with my husband. I'm just telling you how this really was hurtful. And then show up for 3 years every day, and we work in our home, so he came into our home every day. And, you know, I've been holding on to this. So I'm going to share with you what I wrote to him, okay? I'm going to just say, Dear Sam, I think about you often and missed seeing you at Benjamin's last workshop. My husband did a workshop he couldn't attend. I was hoping to run into you there so that I could give you a hug. I'm so sorry about what happened with that email and for how I reacted. I know it wasn't meant for me, and that you were just working through some stuff. I'm sad to know that I trigger you, you know, and the truth is that I adore you and I would never mean to hurt you. You know, but such is life. I know that I've been carrying around some resentment towards you over what happened, and I thought that there was no better day than Valentine's Day to officially let it go. So that's what I'm doing. I hope you're well, and I miss you.
Are you gonna send it to him? Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So, you know, I can't, maybe I've hurt somebody too in the same way or in a similar way. You know, I don't think any of us are innocent, but I want to share this and I want to be the one to extend the olive branch because we're all human and we all make mistakes. And I know that email was private, and it was a shame that it got sent to me, but I'm going to give him the love that I want to get. And I'm just going to, open it up to all of you, that if you take something away from today, maybe there's somebody, who's hurt you, that you're holding a grudge against, or that you're not able to open your heart to, because every time you do something like this, it opens up your heart a little bit. You're the one who gets to benefit from that. You get the love. This is how you get the love that you're trying to get, right here. So thanks for coming, you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No, not at all. Sure. So, thank you guys for coming.
My name is Michelle. Hi. Lisa's workshop was pretty insightful and very positive. I feel that after today I can definitely take on more of her advice in looking as to like what I want to put out for myself, instead of how she mentioned of feeling for what others really want to look for into myself. So definitely going to look into more of sending out more positive vibes for others, and to look more into thinking more outside the box and giving people second chances, not just straight cutting them off. So it was very insightful, and I appreciated her workshop very much.
Overall, I thought I walked into a great session. I just was coming in to like look at shoes and bags, and I got some really good relationship advice and saw somebody really open themselves up. Lisa really opened herself up, and I think a couple other people really were inspired to be vulnerable and maybe see that that was what was lacking in their own relationships, and maybe that's what's holding them back, is not being able to trust themselves and trust in the situation. And I think that maybe they were inspired to say that it's okay to let go, and you can't trust somebody until you just trust them. They can't earn your trust. They can't. There's nothing they can do to make themselves more trustworthy other than you just saying, okay, I'm going to trust you, and until anything that proves otherwise or proves you wrong, you gotta just go with it. I like the part about the zipper, just because how each opportunity in a relationship is a challenge, and it's an opportunity for you to come together and to build something strong and build something with integrity, or for it to come apart completely. And each time you can choose to link together and build up and zip up together and mesh, or you can just come apart and go your separate ways, and it can bust at the seams. So
I really learned about myself, and that I need to trust myself to be able to trust someone else, because I go into situations not trusting people, and she really helped me realize that I need to put out what I want to get in return. And so by giving people the love that I want to receive is what I need to do, instead of just blocking people out of my life or just ending things or being upset why I'm not getting what I want. It's because I'm not putting out what I want.
The seminar today helped to motivate me to take more risks, to not be afraid to fail. Going on dates, maybe giving online dating a serious effort. Up till now, I've kind of been very laxed and hoping that somebody is just going to fall into my lap. What Lisa helped me with is to figure out and to understand that those sorts of things are so rare to happen, and that taking a risk isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can work out and be really positive. So thank you, Lisa. I'm going to work on this.
Hello again. The workshop went really well, and I think everybody seemed to be glad they came, and they walked away with some great insights. Thank you so much for watching the video.